Hey everybody, welcome back to Jeff Bull Central. There was a game that came out 3 years ago that I really kind of appreciated, that I think it got a little bit of coverage from people out there, but there's a lot of people who kind of don't seem to know much about it still. That game was High on Life. It came out first on Xbox Game Pass. I played it and I reviewed it for Jeff Bull Central, and the sequel's coming out like the day before Valentine's. I'm kind of excited for it because I did like that game. I noticed that when looking at the review that I did, I was a little too hypercritical of it, I think. Maybe I was in just kind of a bad mood or something, but I kept saying that the guns were not that interesting. The play is not that interesting. Well, the guns are interesting. It's their personalities that are interesting, even if the mechanics of the game were maybe not as intensely cool as something like Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever you got for the modern shooter. It's the story and the characters and the humor, just the atrociously funny Rick and Morty-esque humor of this game that makes it good, that makes it interesting. So I had this this professor in my when I was earning my MFA at grad school. He used to say, "Jeff, your stories don't make any sense, but they're very funny." And you know what? Story doesn't really have to accomplish much when it's very, very funny like this. And I totally agree. So that's kind of a weird philosophy. But you know what? When something is as funny as Rick and Morty, or as funny as a High on Life, you just go with it. So I'm not going to re-review this game. What I'm going to do is present the old review. It didn't get that many views back then anyway, so no one's seen it anyway. It's fresh to you, frankly. But look, check out this review. Get ready for the Rick and Morty 2, the High on Life 2 review that I'll be presenting here in the next couple weeks. Now, just as a disclaimer, I just want you to know that this is an old review and it's not quite as entertaining as I'm capable of now. Just bear with it and be patient and on with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to Jeff Bull Central. Today we are reviewing High on Life.
God damn, you filled out those papers like a son of a bitch. Like a real bitch you are. Fuck you, you're promoted. You're free to go into Krubus's office. Why? Because fuck you, that's why. I don't need a fucking reason. I'm Boss McBossington, and I'll be in here jerking off or whatever.
Alright, so so this is a new first-person shooter action comedy game from the mind of Justin Roiland, the co-creator of Rick and Morty, so you know what to expect, man. You know what you got when you're going into this. It's either going to be hilarious for you, or you're not going to really understand the humor. It's going to be too adult, too brash. But honestly, come on, if you can't find this sort of thing, this humor is atrociously funny, okay? Like, you know, you have to have a good sense of humor to appreciate it, but it is so funny. Like, every single moment of this game was just a comedic gem. But there's a dark side to that comedy. I'll say a gaming dark side. And that's that though it is an absolutely astonishingly good comedy game, the like of which just doesn't come out very often. They don't really make funny games all that often anyway, but when they do, they're not usually this funny. The problem is, I mean, look at Space Applebee's. Everybody's talking about the Space Applebee's online. It's funny. In spite of maybe being not copyright protected. So, the thing that this game may fail in, you might find if you play it, is that it is not as competent as a shooter, as a game itself, as it is as a comedy experience. So let me explain that a bit. They obviously spent so much time nailing down the story, nailing down the kind of ad-libbed humor that makes it so great, sitting around watching whole movies from the 90s that are just so bad that they're funny all in. You don't have to say anything over it. They're just funny. But when you actually get into, say, a combat situation, because there is a game here, it's a competent shooter, but that's all that it is. It's an average shooter, but really that's all that it is. So, especially the first, I would say, 3 or 4 hours of the game, when they haven't really given you that many guns. So, the whole point of this game is that your guns talk to you. In the lingo of High on Life, they're called Gatlians. And most of the humor comes from the fact that your gun is talking to you and saying all sorts of hilarious things. Oh, I can't forget the knife, too. But, like, the first 3-4 hours of the game, you're mired with using this little pea shooter guy, this little blue guy on the right here. And he's not very interesting as a gun. He's a little pea shooter. And then you get the shotgun guy, and he's kind of interesting as a gun, but not really. And then you get the Needler sniper rifle girl gun, and she's kind of cool. But you see what I'm saying? Like, all the guns by themselves, with the exception of a few, are pretty plain Jane. Not that interesting, with the exception of a few. So, you know, after you've pushed past that initial break-in period, switching between guns and using some of your additional abilities, like a sliding ability, a jetpack, the fact that you can hook onto hooks or skylines or whatever, you know, all of that adds variety to the shooting. But even once you have collected all the guns, and even once the combat is as entertaining as it's ever going to get, the enemy variety is not at all that interesting. You basically have bad G3 guys in yellow suits, or ants, or like naturally occurring monsters, little tiny guys. The enemies just aren't that interesting. The moment-to-moment combat needs to be like much more finely tuned than this. Only because I would argue it needs to compete with the likes of Call of Duty, with the likes of Halo, with the likes of Battlefield, whatever your favorite first-person shooter is. But there's so many fun moments, it almost doesn't even matter, you know what I mean? It's sort of a bummer to go from something like Call of Duty, if you're playing Call of Duty right now, to playing this game. It's chaotic, the actual firefights that you get into, but not like in a great way. It's sandboxy, but also kind of not in a great way. And to be honest, I'm not so sure that they thought that much about how these guns could be used in concert. You know, the little pea shooter guy here, he shoots a little glob of green gunk, and you're supposed to pop enemies up into the air with it and shoot, and that's kind of fun, but it's like, so then I switched to the shotgun, and the shotgun has an alternate firing thing too, where he sucks enemies in. Like, I know that I'm supposed to play around with all of it, but I don't really feel like playing with that much of it, because I'm not that engaged with what I'm doing, fight to fight. I guess that's what I want to say. It's a great action game, great comedy game, but boy oh boy, the moment-to-moment shooting is kind of a bummer. So, I'm going to give High on Life an 8 out of 10. That's it. That's all you need to know. And I'm like, bro, that's it? 8 out of 10? It sounds like you hated the game. Why does it sound like you hated the game? Thanks for watching.